and it doesn't meet the four requirements of fair use, which means number one, what is the purpose of the copying? Number two, the substantiality or the amount copied.
And what is the nature of the copyrighted work?
The nature of the copyrighted work. And lastly, if it hurts the commercial potential.
The potential value of the work.
There you go. So that's no longer fair use if it doesn't meet those four requirements. Okay, stay with us here on Piracy Watch. We'll be taking a short break.
We now return to Piracy Watch on DZRJ 810 AM, the voice of the Philippines. Here is your host, Sarah Jane Sigitan.
Hi, welcome back to Piracy Watch. China has reportedly registered 4.6 million trademarks last year, up 1 million from applications received in 2009. The Xinhua news agency quoted Chinese State Administration for Industry and Commerce as saying that despite the huge number, only 1 out of 8 economic entities in the country had a trademark, and there are not many famous brands. Meanwhile, trademark infringement cases in China took place often, as a lot of enterprises were not fully aware of trademark protection. Former Alaska governor and 2008 Republican vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin filed paperwork with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office in November to register her name as a trademark. The federal office is seeking more information and examples of usage. Palin's attorney said Friday that they have until late spring to provide that information. On her initial application, Palin listed usage of her name as trademark for a website featuring information about political issues and educational and entertainment services, including motivational speaking in the fields of politics, culture, business, and values. Her daughter Bristol Palin also is seeking trademark over her name, citing motivational speaking services in the field of life choices. The younger Palin was a contestant on Dancing with the Stars last year. Okay, joining me this morning is attorney Louis Calvario from the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, and we are discussing amendments to the copyright law currently in place. Okay, attorney Louis, can you tell us what else are the salient provisions of this copyright bill that you're trying to pass in the Congress and in the Senate?
We will also incorporate amendments to the provisions dealing with infringement. So as it now stands in the present law, the concept of infringement is really not very clear, and that it says that infringement can be committed by infringing any of the rights mentioned in the copyright law, aiding and abetting infringement, and possession of infringing materials. However, in the bill, the concept of infringement was further clarified. So it contains several acts which are clear enough to be characterized as infringement. Like it says infringement is when you directly commit an infringement, first of all. And then it also incorporates what we call secondary liability provisions or indirect infringement. So in other words, even if you yourself do not commit the infringement or the illegal copying or the illegal downloading or the illegal distribution of the work, if you benefit financially from the infringing activity of another, and you have the power and the ability to control the activities of that other person who commits the direct infringement, then you could also be liable for copyright infringement.
Okay, so if, for example, I help someone else download illegally over the internet, or I help someone sell pirated copies of a book, I will be secondarily liable for copyright
if you are benefiting commercially from it.
For
like,
example,
for example, if you're a mall owner and you know that your tenants are dealing in infringing materials, and you have guards who can patrol the area, maybe you have CCTV
in the
CCTV connections in the premises, then necessarily you have notice of copyright infringement going on, and you have the power to control those activities. And so therefore, even if you yourself do not sell or do not copy those copyrighted works, since you are beneficially you are benefiting financially from it, then you could also be secondarily liable as an infringer
So mall owners or establishment owners out there who are leasing out stalls to those selling pirated, not only CDs and DVDs, but also merchandise, books, and even fake drugs, can be held liable as a secondary infringer
Or indirect infringers.
or indirect
yes.
infringers in the upon passing of this law. So you will be imprisoned. I mean, the corresponding penalty will also
That's
be
right. Whatever is the penalty
imprisonment.
for criminal infringement. That would
okay.
include imprisonment and fine.
Yeah, so that case is criminal. It's not only civil, it's also criminal. So you need to bear the penalty of a fine and imprisonment as corresponding charge to the corresponding charges. Okay, Attorney Louis, what are other salient provisions?
Lastly,
of
we
this?
have provisions which would mandate universities, institutes of higher learning, to adopt their own intellectual property policies. So, and this is because the IP code, the intellectual property code, is a general law, and it is not meant to address every problem or
Yes.
within a specific community like an academic community. There are problems or issues within the community that could not really be directly addressed by the IP code, or there are loopholes somehow in the IP code. So in order to remedy the situation, the law now mandates all these institutions to adopt their own IP policies. Of course, these IP policies should not be in contravention or violative of the IP
Of
code
the
itself.
IP code. All right. So, upon passing of the Copyright Amendment Bill, and we do hope that through Attorney Louis and the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, our senators and congressmen will pass this law in order to protect our creative industries out there by by providing solutions to multiple copyright challenges that we face. So again, thank you, Attorney Louis, for joining us this morning on the Piracy Watch.
Thank you too. It's an honor and a pleasure for us to be invited again.
Yes, and definitely will invite you again once this law is passed. And
Okay, hopefully within the year.
within the year. All right. So thank you for listening to the Piracy Watch. Join us again next Tuesday at 11 a.m. right here on RJ AM.